When Google introduced the original Chromebook Pixel back in 2013, there was no doubt it had some of the most premium hardware on the market, rivaling that of the MacBook Pro. But the Chrome OS was in its infancy and wasn't ready for prime time. And there is no doubt that the Chrome OS has certainly evolved over the last couple of years to a viable alternative to Windows and the Mac OS for some. Fast forward to late 2017, Google announces the Pixelbook. And let me just put it this way, this is not your grandma's Chromebook, this is a Chromebook on steroids. But with the premium hardware comes a premium price tag. This costs a lot of money, $1,000 for a Chromebook. Yeah, I'm not kidding. Hey everyone, it's Andrew, and this is my take on the Google Pixelbook. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. This is not cheap. This starts at $9.99. And the optional Pixelbook pen is $99, putting this into the Apple-esque type pricing. This is very premium pricing indeed. And for that price, you get an Intel Core i5 7th generation processor. It's got 8 GB of RAM and 128 GB of SSD storage. Now the unit I have has 256 GB of SSD storage, probably overkill for the Chrome OS. I would opt for the $9.99 version with only 128 GB, unless you really need that extra storage. Now packaging is very premium, and of course I wouldn't expect anything less at this $1,000 plus price point. Opening the box, you're greeted by the unit itself. And holding the unit for the first time, you realize how high-end and how premium this design and build really is. You get some documentation and some warranty information as well. You get a USB Type-C cable. Now you'll use that to charge the device. And you get a 45-watt adapter. You should be able to charge this device pretty fast with that adapter. And I opted to get the Pixelbook pen. That's a $99 accessory, and again, matches the packaging you'd get with the Pixelbook itself. In addition to the pen, it also comes with one quadruple A battery. It should last you for at least 6 months, maybe more. I think Google says it'll last up to 8 months. Okay, here are the big selling features in my opinion. It's got a 12.3-inch high-resolution display. It's a convertible device this time around. You get the Pixel Pen option, which I'll talk about in a little bit. And of course, it runs the Android apps natively with the Google Play Store already installed. This has some of the most premium hardware I've ever seen on a device, and I'm not exaggerating. This thing is absolutely gorgeous, and it's built really solid. It weighs only 2.4 pounds, is only 0.4 inches thick. This is extremely thin and extremely light. Now this features a 360-degree hinge. That means you can flip it around into the different modes. There's the tent mode, which is great for using it in the kitchen when you have a recipe, or if you want to use it for watching movies and Netflix. You could flip it into the stand mode. That's great for media consumption. And of course, there's the tablet mode, great for using it with the pen. We'll talk more about that in just a bit. And at 2.4 pounds, I think this is certainly light enough to use in tablet mode without it being uncomfortable for extended periods of time. But for me, I like using it most of the time in laptop mode. That's just comfortable for me. The Pixelbook pen is a $99 accessory, and it has 2048 levels of pressure sensitivity, not quite as high as the new Surface Pen. It uses Wacom AES technology, and that's why I was able to use it with my Huawei Mate Pen, as well as my Dell Active Pen. And one key new feature is its integration with Google Assistant. Circle an item on the display and you can get information on that item. Here I'm circling the iPhone X or iPhone 10, whatever you want to call it. And once I circle it, Google Assistant pops up in its own separate pane, giving me information on the iPhone 10. And speaking of Google Assistant, you have it now on the Chrome OS. Let's see it in action. Okay, Google, how much is the iPhone 10?
Here are some results from the web.
I found myself using Google Assistant more than I thought I would. It's actually a pretty good experience, just like you'd get on a smartphone running Android, of course, and it worked pretty well. Actually, good job Google on that front. Now, as far as ports are concerned, here's what you get. On the right side of the device, you have one USB Type-C port. It supports data, charge, and display out. I was able to connect to a 4K monitor without any problems. On the left side of the device, you have the volume rocker up and down, and next to that is your 3.5mm headset jack. It worked well. I didn't have any interference or anything whatsoever. It sounded pretty good. And next to that is your second USB Type-C port. This one you could also charge, do data, and of course display out with a 4K monitor if you want to. And of course, rounding it out is your power button. And I think in addition to the excellent build and beautiful looks of this device, I think the display may steal the show in its own regard. It's a 12.3-inch IPS touch display with a resolution of 2400 by 1600. That's 235 pixels per inch, and it really is sharp, crisp, and really vibrant. And it gets pretty bright at 421 nits. And the colors are accurate at 117% sRGB. Now, despite its stunning and gorgeous display, I have one nitpick. I don't like the bezels. Now, I think they had to put some bezels in because you're going to use this in tablet mode and you have to have some sort of bezels in order to make it usable. But still, I think they could have made them smaller. I'm just not crazy about those bezels. Don't get me wrong, this is one excellent display. I think the colors are very vibrant, the blacks are very deep. I have no complaints as far as the quality of the display. I'm just not a fan of those bezels. Now, I really do like the keyboard. Now, the keys are a bit on the shallow side at 0.9mm of key travel, but despite that, I think it's really comfortable to type on. It's a soft touch kind of keys, and I really think they were really good. Now, it is backlit, so it is nice in low lit situations or dimly lit rooms. It really worked well. And in my initial use so far, I thought the touchpad worked well. Two-finger scrolling works. You can do gestures on the touchpad. Now, one thing I found interesting is that the touchpad, although it's nicely sized, does go all the way down to the bottom of the screen by the lip. And it was okay. I found it a little bit unusual, but you do get used to it pretty quickly. Now, below the keyboard, you have a palm rest that has almost a soft kind of touch to it. It's like almost a pillowy effect, but not very much. It's very subtle, and it really is comfortable. I like that design touch. There are two speakers located below the display. I believe they're located by the hinges, and they sound really good. I thought there was a hint of bass, and I thought they got really loud. I thought the volume was good. They sounded pretty powerful. Let's hear them in action. Now, this runs the Chrome OS, and I think it's come a long way over the last couple of years, especially with the fact that this now runs Android apps natively out of the box. It's out of the beta phase, and for the most part, it worked pretty well. There are some bugs, there are some scaling issues still there that have been present since the beta phase of this Android apps running on the Chrome OS. But having said that, I think overall, I really think this may be a game changer for the Chrome OS because it opens up the world of possibilities with the multitude of apps available for Android. You can run the YouTube Android app, you could also run the Google Maps, you can do all sorts of possibilities that before just weren't available. Google claims you're going to get up to 10 hours of battery life with the Pixelbook. I didn't quite see 10 hours, but you can get a good solid 7.5 to 8 hours depending on your usage, of course, and depending on what you're doing with this device. Now, my normal use case scenario is about 40% screen brightness, doing YouTube, Netflix, some light gaming on this, and some pretty much web browsing. You're going to see, again, 7.5 to 8 hours. Your mileage may vary, once again, depending on your use. Okay, here's the deal. I can't really recommend this for anybody unless you're really heavily invested in the Chrome OS and in Google in general. I really think for the everyday user, it's going to be lacking. I think the Chrome OS has come a long way, has evolved into a very viable OS, but it still falls short when you compare it to Mac OS and of course with Windows 10. I think you could do more productivity on those platforms. Here, you're a bit limited even with the strides it's made in the last couple of years. And don't get me wrong, I love the ability to use Android apps on this device, and that really does take it to another level, opens up a world of possibilities. But at the end of the day, it still falls short when you compare it to a full OS. Yes, I call full OS, Mac OS, and Windows 10. And of course, I'd recommend this if it was half the price, which is what it should be. This is starting at $1,000. Add in the pen, that's another $100, and you're already into full-fledged premium laptop category. For that price, you can start looking at a MacBook Pro. For that price, you can start looking at Dell XPS 13, and you get my point. Yeah, but let's be clear, this is the best Chromebook on the market, probably ever made for that matter, but I still can't recommend it. $1,000 plus is just too much to pay. So what do you think about Google's Pixelbook? Well, I do like the hardware. I think it's so premium. I think it's outstanding build, and I love the design. I love this glass. I love the metal combination. You can't get more high-end, more premium than what Google's produced with the Pixelbook. But the problem lies in the price. It's over $1,000. When you include the $100 pen, you're looking at $1,100 plus. If you go for the 256 gigabyte model, which is what this is, you're looking at $1,400 with tax all in for both the pen and of course the Pixelbook, which is way too much to pay for a Chromebook. I'm sorry. I know people love Chromebooks. I love them, and I think they've gotten really good in the past couple of years. I love the fact that you have the ability to run Android apps right out of the box. It's out of the beta phase, and for the most part, it worked really well. There were some scaling issues. There were some bugginess in some apps that hopefully over time will get better, and they certainly have gotten better. But again, I can't justify the high price point for a Chromebook. And the bottom line is you're getting good performance. This is probably the best Chromebook you can buy. It's just too expensive. If you're going to spend that kind of money, get a MacBook, get a Windows 10 machine, a Dell XPS 13, a Dell XPS 15. Don't put it in this Chromebook. At least that's my opinion. Again, I love it. If it came in much less, if it came in half the price, if this was $599 or even $699, I would certainly consider this. And at $999, I think Google really outpriced themselves. I think they priced themselves out of the market. But that's just my opinion. I'm curious to know what you think. Leave a comment in that comment section below. I really want to love this, but the fact of the matter is I'm sending this back to Google. I wanted to see what it was all about, but I'm not going to keep this because at this price point, I could invest that in something else that could be more of a productivity tool, at least for me. Now, it may work for you, and if it does, let me know in that comment section below. So please hit the like button, please subscribe, please share this video. Don't forget to leave a comment in that comment section below. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know if there's a device or something out there you think I should review. I'll do my best to try to make that happen. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook, on Twitter, Instagram, and of course our website, AMDtechreviews.com. So until next time, this is Andrew from AMD Tech. See ya.